Does it ever feel to you sometimes like God has this plan for your life? There's something that He wants you to do, but there is just so much trouble in trying to figure out what it is. How do I understand it? Or really, what is God's plan for my life? Well, that's what I want to tackle in today's video, so stay tuned. G'day, good people. My name is Josh. I'm a pastor and a chaplain, and I really want to help you in your journey with Jesus to understand Him more. And today I want to tackle, how do we find God's purpose for our life? Obviously, this is a huge topic, and there is so much that could be said on it, but these are just a few things that have helped me, a few frames of mind, and hopefully they'll help you too. In preparation for an upcoming project, I was recently cleaning out this bag from my garage, and it was full of like old gear that I'd used in the past, like microphones and camera stuff and lighting stuff and whatever. And I was going through it, and most of the bag I still can use a lot of that stuff. Some stuff was just old junk. It's really out of date, doesn't work anymore, so I threw it out. But it was really frustrating. Every now and then you'd come across something and I wasn't actually sure what it was. For example, like an old power cord or something, and it's like you pull it out and I'm like, I don't want to throw it away because I feel like there's a purpose for this, but I really don't know what it is. So it ends up in this kind of like in-between space of not being junk, but not really being useful, and you have no idea what to do with it. And I think as a school chaplain and as a pastor, this is something I come across, especially with a lot of young people, that they feel like there's something they want God to do in their life. They want that God has a purpose for them, but they're really struggling to figure out what it is. And they feel like in this weird in-between space of being like useful to God, but not really knowing what they can do. And so they don't know, they get paralyzed by it, especially when it comes to trying to decide a career or a spouse or just how to spend your time. We only have so much time on this earth, and how we spend it is actually really valuable. So if you are in this space, let me give you 3 frames of thinking that help me understand God's purpose for my life. And I just want to say before I get into these points, it is just the best news that we serve a God of the universe who yet has a plan for you and for your life. We're just normal human beings, and yet God has a plan and a purpose for you. God sees the entire galaxy, the entire universe, and every intricacy of it, and yet He has a plan for your life. Friends, that is good news. And if you are wrestling with trying to understand His plan for your life, that's an awesome place to be in, because it means you care about it. And the best thing is God cares about you too. So keep on that wrestle, keep leaning into Him, keep trying to understand, and just keep remembering God does have a plan for you, and that is good news. So the first frame of thinking that really helped me is understanding we are all actually called to the same overarching purpose. So hopefully this takes a little bit of pressure off you in trying to figure this out, but we all have this overarching purpose, and it's not some huge mystery we need to uncover. Jesus in the Bible actually makes it really clear, and if I was going to summarize it, I would summarize it with these 3 things. Every single one of us are called to love God, love people, and make disciples. This is based on Matthew 22, 36-40, and Matthew 28, 18-20. Obviously, just a really summarized version of those, but if you want to dive into what He says, check that out. So it's kind of simple, really. It means whatever you do, encompass your life with these 3 things. Like in your job, in your marriage, your family, your friendships, your spare time, love God, love people, make disciples. It's not just something pastors do, it's something that we're all called to do. So what could this look like? It's treating those around you with love and respect. It's praying for those you work with, maybe not in person, but surely in your own prayer time. It's family worship at home. It's being an active part of a spiritual community. It's growing in your relationship with God. It's a recognition that whatever you do for work, or whether you're a student or a full-time mom, God can grow you and use you there. So you might be wondering then, well, is there like an actual divine plan for me, or is it just like a free-for-all? That's a fair question. So let me get on to the next frame of thinking that might help understand this a little bit more. You are uniquely created with skills, passions, and an ability to decide. God wants you to use all of these. We are unique and intentionally created by God. Check out Psalm 139 verse 13. It says, "For you created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb." If God created you with skills and passions, He probably wants you to use them for His glory in some way. So let's talk about 2 areas where this is more prevalent, and that is your work time and your spare time. If you're a student, it might be your school time and your at-home time, whatever it might look like for you. So let's talk about your work time first. When it comes to what you do for work, it's not just pastors who are called to have a spiritual impact on the world. God can use you and what you do for work to touch people's lives for him. And they might never even know you're a Christian, because obviously you're not always able to share your faith openly in every workspace. But that's fine, because the way that you live is a testament to your faith. So even if you're a teacher, a nurse, forklift driver, an architect, an engineer, carpenter, a sales rep, or whatever your job, you can be used by God in this space. And this can happen by the way that you treat your co-workers and your clients. When we treat everybody around us with that Christ-like love, he laid down everything for us, despite the fact that we didn't deserve it. When we treat people like that in our spaces, it can do incredible things in people's lives. And to be honest, there's a lot of workplaces where that's missing. There is no love, there is no respect. And so you can actually stand out and be really different just by the way that you treat those around you. When you go the extra mile, when you show integrity and respect through your love, it can have a huge impact. I think of Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. And it tells us that whatever you do, work on it with all your heart, as if you're working for the Lord, not just for human masters. Isn't that crazy? It's like acting like your boss is the Lord, or acting like the person you're working for is the Lord. That could be a huge mindset shift for so many people, to just recognize that whatever you do for work, you got to treat it as if you're working directly for the Lord. Treat whatever you are doing right now, even if it's a temporary, even if it's a job you hate, or if it's mundane, treat it like it is a special assignment from the Lord, because it is. God has you right where he needs you. Our work can be a hugely important space. It's where we spend so much of our time, and it's a huge opportunity for impact in people's lives. Love your coworkers, love your clients, glorify God through the way that you treat others in your workplace, and use your creativity, use the gifts that God's given you in your work. If you're a creative type of person, see if you can get a job in a creative kind of work field, or if you're real people orientated, see if you can find a job that's really a lot to do with people. Or if you're just great with your hands, do something great with your hands. That's how God has made you. Honor him through the way that you can work. Now, I know not everybody gets to work a job that they feel like they can use all of their gifts in, and that's okay too. If you don't feel like you are using all that you're created to be able to do in your work time, that is where our spare time comes into play. So this is the other half of this. For example, this could look like someone who's really great with their hands, using some of their spare time to fix things in their church building, or to fix things for a neighbor, or others in their community. It's someone who loves working with young people. Maybe they don't have a job in that space, but maybe they could be leading a young people's group, or maybe they could be, helping with that at church, whatever it is. We actually have all these gifts that God's given us, and whether we use them in our work or in our spare time, it's about using what God has placed in your hand to actually affect the world. And this is an awesome opportunity we have. Now, I know it can be really hard to actually use our spare time, because work can take so much out of us. But whatever you can offer, see if you feel like, your work, you're loving people, you're respecting people, but you've got gifts that you really want to use for God, see how you can use it, especially in a church community. That is an amazing place to use our gifts, especially some things we might learn in the workplace. We can use it for God in our spare time. And so see how you can do that. Finally, pray that God will open doors that need to be opened and close those that need to be closed. Then this is the hardest part. Trust that he's going to do it. Whether it's deciding what you want to do for work, or deciding who should be your spouse, or something like that, even if it's just deciding how you spend your time, a simple prayer about, God, can you open the doors that need to be opened in my life? Can you close the doors that need to be closed? And then just trust that he's going to do that. Look for the red lights. Look for the things that God is telling you to stop doing, the things he needs you to pull back from, and just expect that there are green lights in your life propelling you to go forward with God. Trust that he's going to guide you. Trust that his spirit is going to work through you. To be honest, I'm a pastor and a chaplain. A lot of people feel like, that's just like, of course you feel like you're pursuing God's will for your life because you're doing something spiritual. But even when I wasn't doing this, I used to be a barista in a cafe, making coffee for people, and I loved it just because I got to care for people. There was something special about being able to just give somebody their morning coffee, watch them cheer up, get to know them, get to learn their names, be able to treat my coworkers with love and respect. I love that. And I never thought I would be in this opportunity, but now I've just kept trusting that God will open the doors that need to be opened in my life. And he did. He kept working and I just kept following, and that's how I ended up here. Who knows what is next in my life? Who knows where I'll end up? But I had this constant prayer that God would continue to open the doors he needs me to step through, that he would give me the courage and the boldness to step through them, and that he would close doors that need to be closed in my life. It's a scary thing to pray, to give your life over, but that is one of the most beautiful parts about Christianity. It calls people to lay down their lives, to surrender to Jesus because he surrendered to us. And so we can trust that when we lay our life down for him, he's going to do something amazing with it. So be blessed, my friends. I hope this video has been helpful. And if you have some thoughts on this, maybe a story of how God has shown you his purpose for your life, I'd love to see it in the comments. Or, if you have some other ideas about how you would understand this, I'd love to hear about it too. I'd love to go on this journey together, and let's see what God does. So be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.